Hello and welcome to Awake TV Network's show, Leap of Consciousness. I am Annie Kalatkar, and with me is my colleague, Ashley Lee. And today we're going to talk about experiencing your true nature and what some of those obstacles are to you experiencing your true nature so that you can restore your true nature.
Yeah, we're here to do that. I am so excited to talk about this topic and to really share this with everyone watching. Our true nature sometimes can be underrated or overrated. So let's dive in to see what that really is about. Literally, right? Underwater, we're coming up to the surface to really discover what our true nature is. Well, it's love, right? Every form of love that can be perceived, understood, every form, good, bad, otherwise, everything in between. It's our whole universe is filled with love. That's where we truly come from. Many times it's love experienced in the physical world as we can dance through life, walking on water, and expressing it with ourselves, with each other, and the world around us. Where does our true nature really begin for ourselves? It can be challenging sometimes, right? When we awaken to the love inside, that's where it truly begins. Many of us believe that we can't remember before the age of 2. It's really challenging. I'll share with you when I connect with my inner guidance, when I connect with my whole true nature self, I actually do have memories that I access. I think in the larger brain, right? The universal brain. I connect to that and really know the moment that I came into this physical body. I remember being in utero. I remember having sensations while being in utero. That's really when the love awakens from us, right? Our spiritual true nature comes into the physical body. And in that moment, we awaken to the loves inside of ourselves. And what happens when fear pulls us away from our true nature?
That's a great question. I would have to share that we believe that our organismic rights, those are the rights that every organism has. And Ashley and I have expounded on those to include other concepts that are more of a spiritual concept. But the moment we believe that they've been taken away from us, we lose our true natured self of love and we move into fear. So let's explore some of those fears because they come out as consciousness challenges. All consciousness challenges are rooted in fear. And this one is rather humorous. It's no right to be assertive. And sometimes, when we are going to be assertive, maybe we're going to make a mess. And maybe we don't exactly know how to clean up that mess. And so we end up getting blamed or shamed and humiliated. And then we're told, please don't be yourself. Please don't do that again. And so we lose that right over time. And really what we want to do is we want to release that compromised state of being so that we can humbly express through heart-centered consensus with everyone around me what it is that I have to share. And this dog probably just had loads of energy and enthusiasm it wanted to share. And who knows, maybe its owner wasn't willing to throw the ball. And so it went and started digging up the garden and it had no idea how to fix the mess. So no right to be assertive leaves us in a bit of a powerless mess after we've agreed that we've lost this right to assert ourselves.
So true.
In this next one, no right to be independent is a consciousness challenge because the moment that, and in the case of this mother, she probably agreed to have a slumber party for her daughter or daughters, and she realized she was probably giving up her night of peace and all these other things, but she went into agreement that she didn't have a right to be independent and have her own needs be met. So she ended up becoming codependent to the situation. And in that sense, that all these girls were then going to be dependent upon her to get their needs met. And as a parent, she put her own needs second. So this is a loss because one has the belief that they're powerless. And it's not true, because she could have made some arrangements knowing ahead of time that this was coming, and perhaps said to her spouse or a sister or one of the other mothers, hey, can you stick around for 30 minutes while I get the food ready, and then you can go and I'll take over from there. That way she has time for herself to use the bathroom and get ready and really be present for the girls. This one's very interesting. I love the very flimsy thread that's keeping the hands tied in a state of no right to be emancipated. And this one is signifying that we believe sometimes that we're not free, because life has conditions, and as indicated by the price tag here on the string, that life can be costly, and I have to pay the price to be in life. And we end up becoming a slave to the systems and structures that are around us. And so when we believe we're powerless to them, we give away our power. And the way that we return to a space of spiritual sovereignty is to actually conflict resolve the disagreement that we have with life circumstances, the circumstances that we've judged. This one's no right to be loved. And the image here is rather lovely for perspective discussing. Did this person repel everybody, or do they have a belief that everyone is outside of them and doesn't want to come in? Here we have probably over 1,000 individuals forming the shape of a heart, and one lonely person in the middle. This is how some people have the perspective that they've lost that right to be loved, and that their experience is being denigrated or diminished, or that somehow others are taking advantage of them. So when we begin to do more self-love to fill our cup up and not look outside of us for love. Here's another one that really is kind of cute. Just because he has a broken arm, he appears to have this belief that he has no right at all to participate in the game of basketball, which is just not true, because right away we can say, oh, you could be in the cheering section, you could be coaching, you could be retrieving balls that have escaped the court. There's numerous things, numerous jobs that this young lad could be doing to participate. And oftentimes in the no right to participate, it's because we have this judgment of something that we did to ourselves and or that we did to others. Now I don't have that right to participate. And the healing process is really about letting go of those self-judgments that I have nothing to offer because I believe I can't interact at this moment. And that is never the truth. So when we recognize this and we show great patience or compassion and understanding, then we open up to new potentials and possibilities. That expands our experience and allows us to begin participating with life again. No right to have needs. This is a significant consciousness challenge, and I've been there. I think 99% of the population has been there. This is a message that we routinely, consistently tell ourselves, oh, I don't have time. Oh, I'm too tired. I don't have the energy. I don't have the resources to meet my needs. The cost of taking care of myself is too high. I'll just put it off. So these types of needs get put on the back burner, like, oh, I don't have a right to that. And it's a judgment that we're telling ourselves that we're powerless to create the change, and that we can shift that by accepting that I can notice my needs, and then I have the ability to support myself or resource myself by asking someone else, can you help me meet my needs? And then this form of self-love begins to fill the cup up, and then we begin to have new vision about how we can meet our needs. Perhaps we say, look, I know you want 30 minutes on a Zoom call, but I'm only going to give you 20. And perhaps you build in walks. I need to take a 10-minute walk around the block just to stretch. I've been sitting all day. I need to get water. I need to have a healthy lunch. As we slowly make these choices to teach ourselves and update our belief system that we do have a right to have needs, we begin to do more and more self-love. This is another good one. No right to be sovereign. This is experienced on physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual levels. Whenever you perceive that something is keeping you captive and you agree to it, so for example, COVID-19, you agree to do the social distancing, you agree to stay in your house, you agree to wear a mask in public, in a way, you have traded your right to be a sovereign being and do what you believe is right and correct for you. And so we suppress what is our true nature, which is love. And then we agree to the fears that we have been presented with by society in this particular example. So as we connect to our inner guidance, and we recognize that we can have interpersonal responsibility with the agenda that we consented to, we actually begin to express our sovereign nature as we conflict resolve the life circumstances that we feel are keeping us in a state of powerlessness. That is how we create sovereignty and create peace inside ourselves. And that is what cuts the ropes that bind us. Have you ever been told to shush? No right to advocate for myself. This begins when we are super young and we are told, quiet, quiet, nope, not right now, can't, nope, don't even go there, shh. We have been shushed from the time we were little, and many of those times we were trying to advocate for ourselves, but perhaps didn't know how to set the listening with the one who could help us get our needs met. So we end up putting on this mask, and it basically is this mask that says, I don't believe in myself that I can get my needs met, because even if I do try to come forward and speak my truth, no one's going to listen, no one's going to help me, and I somehow have lost that right. Well, it is not true. And so when we recognize that we've been doing this, we have the ability to resolve the problem and let go of the self-judgment that we can't support ourselves no matter what the problem is. And then as we release the veils of conflict through conflict resolution, we are able to release our innate self-advocacy and begin setting the listening so that others can truly hear what it is that we need for ourselves. So take the mask off, no more shushing. No right to share my knowledge. Sometimes we have been suppressed from sharing. which sends a message, oh, I don't care what you have to share. But sometimes we perceive that no one wants what we have to share. And so it can flow both ways. And everybody has something to share. Everybody has knowledge. Everyone has a perspective or a point of view that is valuable no matter what. So as we let go of the self-judgments that we're not allowed to offer others our wealth of knowledge, we then can choose to share with confidence, knowing that what I have to offer is valuable to others. And just remember, your presence matters, because your presence is love. And inside love, who you are matters, and who you are makes a difference. No right to exist ends up creating a sense of no right to belong. When we have been told over and over and over again, don't bother me, or leave me alone, not now, all the ways in which people put us off to the side, we start to begin to believe that we may not have a right to exist. So with that, we end up beginning to believe that we are separate from others, which is never true. And the way we heal this is we release that judgment that we don't belong, and we recognize that who I am and what I have to share is valuable. If you enjoyed these consciousness challenges that I shared with you, one of our free gifts is 101 days of advanced energy healing. All of those pictographs can be emailed to you one day at a time, with a deeper exploration of the consciousness challenge and ways to heal it and update your belief systems. This is phenomenal learning, and it helps you with all the different perspectives that conflict can be experienced. It is truly a masterclass, and it is available at leapofconsciousness.com.
It really is, and it really helps us understand those deep fears that you just spoke of very deeply, about how that pulls us from our true nature of love and really sets us kind of off course throughout our day. Now let's speak for just a moment about our inner boardroom. We find this concept really fun and exciting to work with. For example, in your inner boardroom, in your mind, in your heart, in your being, who's leading your inner boardroom? Is it your ego? Is it your emotional self? Is it your doubting self? Right? Is it your overwhelmed self? Which part of you? Is it your inner guidance? Is it your higher self? Is
or
it
your inner child?
Self? Right, our inner child. There is so many aspects of ourself that sometimes becoming aware of those particular aspects of ourselves and who that is leading the boardroom up here or anywhere in ourselves helps us really determine what the perspectives are of those sort of individuated parts of us. And when we understand who's who, I call it who's who in the zoo, my zoo, who's who in this zoo inside of me, who's leading the show, then I can start to begin to work with mastery about how does that part of me feel? What does that part of me think? What does that part of me believe? What is that part of me making everyone else do, including myself? So these are where we have inner conflicts with ourselves that we don't always realize. Sometimes this inner part or inner aspect who's leading our inner boardroom can sometimes take the reins, right? And really overgrow the show called our experience or what we're expressing in the world. So we intentionally had a photo here with the reddish orange seats, the hot seats, the leading boardroom, the executive of the boardroom. And who did you make your executive of today in your life? Who's leading your boardroom? It's an interesting concept, isn't it? Especially when we're doing something we really don't want to do, or we don't want to be, or we don't want to think, or we don't want to emote. Because maybe that's not the most masterful aspect of ourselves to be leading our inner boardroom. So we wanted to bring this up because this interferes many times with us connecting to our true nature. So we developed a really fun empowerment. We call it the inner boardroom consciousness. So we become conscious or aware of who's in the hot seat, who's in the top executive CEO seat. I call it the chief energy officer. Who's running the show? So in the presence of my inner boardroom, I consciously choose to place my highest self at the head of the table to guide the conversation, experience, and relationship that I am choosing to manifest in this moment. Isn't that fun? So let's go a little deeper into conscious relating from that aspect of ourselves we choose in our inner boardroom. So it really begins even as my higher self is at the hot seat, the head of the table. There might be other members, aspects of myself in the inner boardroom that's got some judgments.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Like my inner child, or my ego is a little upset, or what, there's other parts that aren't super happy.
And some of the parts may be under the table or in the corner.
Exactly, are kicked out of the boardroom.
Exactly. It's really a great exercise to do for creating internal awareness of all the aspects of yourself that are creating your life experience.
Yeah. So sometimes if I'm entering a situation in my external world where I'm feeling off kilter, I'm not really with it, I might have an internal board meeting with myself and determine where I'm having judgments that are interfering with my ability to have this wonderful, true-natured outer experience. So it really, conscious relating with myself and all others begins with clearing the judgments from all angles, all perspectives, in all dimensions of awareness. And like in this first dimension of awareness, really, I had to look at myself and my inner boardroom and what were those dimensions? Who's who in the zoo called me that's running this show that's a little bit sideways and not where I really want to be. And so when we come into awareness of all of these different perspectives, we have an opportunity to really have deep clarity. When we have deep clarity with ourselves and the perspectives that all the different parts of ourselves are speaking, and we give each part in our inner boardroom love, support, understanding, letting that part speak to the highest self, letting that part speak to that which is guiding our day. We then begin to really experience deep, deep levels of self-love. And from that self-love, we then can step into another's experience free of assumptions. Just like this father is helping his daughter with a conflict, a problem, and he's able to be present in the moment, free of his own conflicts, free and open to really deeply and compassionately listen, understand, and experience what his daughter's feeling and thinking, so that that conflict within her can be supported and rerouted.
Such a beautiful photo. Her face really truly reflects the space that he is holding for her to communicate. It's really, really beautiful.
It really is. And then it goes into this further idea, right, of creating language to express love. And it really does go back again to releasing self-judgments within ourselves, really having that clarity inside our inner boardroom. And as she has clarity inside of her boardroom, you can see when she releases any self-judgments about herself, there's no walls. between the inner boardroom, between our physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual self. It's amazing. We're able to wake up to that love, literally, our true nature state, flow through us easily, organically, and effortlessly. We don't have to fake it. It also affords us the experience to experience naturally the emanation of the love that radiates out from us to the world. And we can do this in so many ways, right? We can do this physically with smiles and made up emoticons with our hands. We can do lots of different ways of expressing and radiating our love. But what if we can do it also just in the moment of being still, being silent? You can feel that, right? When you walk into a room, creating the language of expressing love. So there is so many ways to share this when we release self-judgments. Now let's talk about living inside of oneness. We consciously choose to be complete with our, when we consciously choose to be complete with our consciousness challenges and conflict resolve all those judgments, it literally really frees us from pain and suffering and develops that level of emancipation, right? When I consciously choose to step into my true nature, my true power of love, I recognize I am sovereign from the conflicts I have resolved within myself. That is massive, massive power. Living inside oneness also presences us to the opportunity of our true nature being one with all. Healing separation becomes rather simple and graceful. And inside the presence of oneness, inside ourselves, even in our inner boardroom, when I embody the presence of oneness, those around me may connect and receive the opportunity to embody the healing of separation and experience this oneness, this joy where we're all connected. Really stating inside of us, I am one with and not separate from each other. Anything that you'd like to create that sentence to be, share that with yourself and your inner boardroom every day. You'll see the profound peace that enters in your life. Now let's talk for just a moment about the obstacles to experiencing oneness, because they can be challenging too.
They sure can. False action is one of my favorite cards because it really is about failure to launch. It's this profound stuckness that people experience, and they're like, well, I can't change it, I can't make it better, and this is how I am, so just forget it, right? Wow, that is completely forgetting who you are, which is love, and love is connected to all that is, which means that you can embrace paranoia and allow the universe to come in and help you get movement again. And so it takes releasing this judgment that we falsely believe that we couldn't change being stuck. And victim of circumstance, another of my favorites, because I think 99% of the people on this planet are going through this right now. When we agree with the world, with life circumstances, that we're powerless, we can often go into that state of self-pity, and then we look to others and we recruit them to validate that, yeah, life's kind of sucky or whatever we're saying. And so when we release that self-judgment that we're powerful, like, you know, during COVID, you may be feeling stuck inside and feel that the world is telling you how to be right now. Well, you can conflict resolve that, restore your sense of power, and heal that belief that's going on that you agreed to, and restore the peace inside yourself. And separation consciousness. This is such a great picture of the big fish outside of the little fish, and it really is an illusion. Separation is the biggest illusion I think all human beings and probably other beings experience. It's when we move into that fear that we perceive we're separate from the source of love, and therefore I'm isolated from the source of love. And we heal this by recognizing the conflict we've created first and foremost, but then we move into releasing our judgments that others and life are abandoning us, because that is not the truth. We are the source of love we may have forgotten. So then we choose to notice that love exists inside of us, and we can comfort ourselves and do self-love whenever we experience a problem or a conflict. I think it is kind of interesting to note that that mama fish, if it is a mama, could have just pushed the bottle enough that the little one could have swam out of the bottle, right? The separation was all an illusion in the first place.
It sure was. And then we go into this idea of unifying our being, which is one of my favorite things to do in the whole entire world. It's my excitement in life, really having the opportunity to unify our inner guidance when we become one with ourselves. And what do we really mean by that? This is really fascinating, right? A lot of times we separate out to really understand discordances or conflicts. So we separate when we get ill or diseased or injured. What caused that? Was it my physical? Was it my emotional? Was it my mental? Was it my spiritual? What part of me was in discordance, right? And so we kind of categorize ourselves in these different ways so that we can determine what root cause is. And it's very valuable to do that. And as we go through what caused root cause and we conflict resolve it, and we go to this state of peace, and then we move into this empowered state, sometimes we could forget. If we were focused on the physical, we may stay all physical. And so it's very powerful to reunify ourselves, to bring that awareness of bringing every aspect back into the boardroom, back into our experience, so that we really can become one with ourselves. Because as we're able to literally to unify our inner guidance, man, all kinds of peace, love, true natured expressions begin to naturally blossom in our everyday experiences. And really, as I make conscious connection with my higher self to support me in the moments of a decision, I really choose to embody the state of being one with my inner guidance, so that I am making conscious choices from inside the space of love and coming from the principle of in service to us. Meaning I have unified myself to support me, to have an opportunity to appreciate how you support you. And then when we are full of our true nature of love, we come together in our experiences, our conversations, and our relationships, and we blossom and bloom them in to experiences and conversations that we've never really had before. And it's exciting to know that we can do this now. We invite you to experiment with your inner guidance. Really know who's who in the zoo of your inner boardroom. And really collectively take that opportunity to unify your very being. Because when we choose to stand and embody our unified selves, we live unified in our oneness, and we become literally an us altogether. So when we unify the self inside ourselves, and we unify our inner boardroom, and we become one with all that is, then becoming one with you is difficult. Becoming one with our problems isn't difficult. Become one with our joys isn't difficult. We begin to recognize that and relate to our world very differently than feeling separate and segregated. So we created this empowerment called the unified self-consciousness. And as I presence myself in the world, I stand unified in my physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual, energetic bodies. I acknowledge I am now ready to stand unified with humanity. I consciously choose to recognize that I have transformed me to us. And when humanity stands together in oneness, we naturally, organically, and easily, gracefully unify with each other.
We invite you to live your true nature. It's easy, and we can support you in releasing your consciousness challenges. You meditate for 12 consecutive Wednesday nights. During this time, you get to eliminate all distractions and commit to a 30-minute period of time for you to do self-love. And Ashley and I will support you as advanced energy healers as you move through different areas of your consciousness that you are seeking to change, beliefs that you want to update. We're energetically providing a very unique packet of energy for you to tune into. You can also match each week of the program with each episode here on Awake TV. Simply log in and create an account on Awake TV when you're ready to take the program and watch the first episode before you do your nightly meditation. And it is truly a beautiful, transformative program that you can take to supercharge and launch your leap through consciousness. Thank you so much for joining us today. We're always delighted to share with you, and we will see you again for our next episode.